evolutionary process of different types of bodies is something like that of a fructifying flower. Just as there are different stages in the growth of a flower, the bud stage, the blooming stage, and the full-fledged, fully grown stage of aroma and beauty, there are 84 lakh species of bodies in gradual evolution, and there is systematic progress from the lower species of life to the higher. The human form of life is supposed to be the highest, for it offers consciousness for getting out of the clutches of birth and death. The fortunate child in the womb of his mother realizes his superior position and is therefore distinguished from other bodies. Animals in bodies lower than that of the humans are conscious only as far as their bodily distress and happiness are concerned. They cannot think of more than their bodily necessities of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But in the human form of life, by the grace of God, the consciousness is so developed that a man can evaluate his exceptional position and thus realize the Self and the Supreme Lord. The word Dhammashariri means that we have a body in which we can control the senses and the mind. The complication of materialistic life is due to an uncontrolled mind and uncontrolled senses. One should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for having obtained such a nice human form of body, and one should properly utilize it. The distinction between an animal and a man is that the animal cannot control himself and has no sense of decency, whereas the human being has the sense of decency and can control himself. If this controlling power is not exhibited by the human being, then he is no better than an animal. By controlling the senses or by the process of yoga regulation, one can understand the position of his self, the super soul, the world, and their interrelation. Everything is possible by controlling the senses. Otherwise, we are no better than animals. Real self-realization by means of controlling the senses is explained herein. One should try to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one's own self also. To think oneself the same as the Supreme is not self-realization. Here it is clearly explained that the Supreme Lord is Anadi or Purana, and he has no other cause. The living entity is born of the Supreme Godhead as part and parcel. It is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Anadiradir Govinda. Govinda, the Supreme Person, has no cause. He is unborn. But the living entity is born of him, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mame Vamshaha. Both the living entity and the Supreme Lord are unborn. But it has to be understood that the Supreme cause of part and parcel is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma Samhita therefore says that everything has come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sarvakarana Karanam. The Vedanta Sutra confirms this also, Janmadasyetaha. The absolute truth is the original source of everyone's birth. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. I am the source of the birth of everything, including Brahma and Shiva and the living entities. This is self-realization. One should know that he is under the control of the Supreme Lord and not think that he is fully independent. Otherwise, why should he be put into this conditional life? Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So the speciality of the human body when compared to all the other species is that in the human body the soul can control his senses and can have a destination, can have a purpose, whereas In the animal body, the soul is moved simply by instincts of pleasure and pain, agreeable and disagreeable sense perceptions. This is something that we need to understand the difference by observing the animal species as well as human being. The animals are easily trainable simply by giving them pleasure. And their dictionary only contains, in their mind, there is only association of pleasure and pain. Their activities are their decision making. The living entity in the animal body decides based on pleasure perceptions. It may look like the animals also have freedom, like humans have. It may look like sometimes animals have a destination, and according to that they will make their different choices to reach that destination. But it does not have that. If at all they have some destination, it is a trained destination, instinct-wise they will go. That's why animals can be trained for anything. Dogs, cats, birds, monkeys. Simply they will teach something and they'll give a little food and it'll learn. And then again, so when you go and when an outsider who has not seen the training process, if he looks at that, suddenly you'll see, oh, this is so obedient, this child, this monkey is. And it is doing exactly what is being told. In US, if you go to the Disney World, there's an animal world. So there on the stage, they make a monkey do so many things. And it look like it's very intelligent in the sense. Do this, it'll bow down, it'll say. Even whales, they also do so many things. And it look like they're completely obedient. They're responding to what is being told. They're responding to what is being told is because behind the screen, before the show, if they respond, they will get one fish. If they don't respond, they won't get. So they learn like this. And then you will see also in the end of the show, a whole basket of fish is given to the whales, so that it should perform. So when the show begins, it knows, in the end I'll get the pleasure. And then the entire show, exactly half an hour, it will do everything that it has been taught to do. So you see, the living entity in another type of body sees only by instinct. They don't see by intelligence. Differentiation is seeing with intelligence and seeing with instinct. Seeing with intelligence means seeing favorable, unfavorable with respect to your destination. Once you create a destination, you need intelligence to accept and reject in order to reach the destination. That is how everything is, we reach somewhere. So this special facility is given in the human form of life to create a destination, and based on the destination to look at things which are favorable and unfavorable to move towards the destination. That favorable and unfavorable, the seeing unfavorable and unfavorable, favorable and unfavorable things is called intelligence. And seeing like that, one will take a decision and he'll move towards the destination. This is a very common faculty in human being. But this faculty does not exist in the animal. It just goes by, it goes by his perception of pain and pleasure, decision of pain and pleasure. Just like sometimes you take a stone to throw at a dog. Suddenly you will see the dog is quite confused, go right or left. So you tend to think that, oh, it has got intelligence. It's not actually analyzing. The dog is not analyzing. If you take a stone and throw at a human being, he will analyze which is the best way to escape. But in the case of the dog, it is not analyzing, it is choosing between two instincts, which is pleasurable, which is painable, which is more painful, or which is like that. So there is a choice in the animals also, but it is based on instincts. So the living entity in another type of body sees only by instinct. He knows only the agreeable and disagreeable sense perception of that particular body. Just see. So they don't have the kind of thinking ability that the human being has got. Another beautiful thing that Prabhupada is telling in this purport, it gives a comparison of how our consciousness evolves just like a flower blossoms and becomes full grown. From a bud to blossoming, then full grown. So our consciousness is also evolving in that manner from different species, one species to another species. This is a very important understanding that the Vaishnavism gives. It is not that the evolution of consciousness is ultimately to come to a point of undifferentiated oneness or no varieties, nothing, a plain consciousness. If it is a plain consciousness, then there is no need for all this kind of evolution. In so many varieties of species. Actually, evolution of consciousness means the consciousness is developed in a way in which fine variegated pleasures can be appreciated. Finer pleasures can be appreciated. Development of fine variegatedness is a symptom of progress. Just like you take sound itself, language. Language means so many words are there, so many modulations are there, isn't it? But what is sound? What is language? Language is just sound, right? Instead of all the words, simply say, ah. Hey, you're uncivilized man, you'll say. You don't know language? The same sound only. No, I am producing same sound that you are also talking with sound, I am also talking with sound. So in the same way, pleasure also. What is wrong? This is a pleasure only. Karmi says, this is pleasure. You are also after pleasure, we are also after pleasure. It is a fact. Pleasure is our nature, pleasure is there. But development, progressive consciousness, evolution of consciousness means, as Prabhupada says, there is decency, there are finer pleasures in the human which are not there in the animal. So finer and finer pleasures, if you want, then within the 84 lakh species we have to rise up. But finally, what is the destination? Because you need a very fine sense of pleasure if you want to enter the spiritual world. That is a proof of destination. We cannot be uncouth, uncivilized, and enter the spiritual world. We have to become sensitive, to different pleasures. It's not simply about sensitivity, it is also about integrity. When it comes to the matter of pleasure, then that is why in the human form of life, we are taught that certain pleasures are, all pleasures are regulated, certain pleasures are permitted, certain pleasures are called sinful pleasures. So sinful activities we cannot do. So somebody who does not have the sense of higher pleasure, that means for him all pleasure is same. His philosophy is pleasure. Hedonistic philosophy is called, wherever there is pleasure, take it. Whereas civilized life means, it is not about regulating for the sake of, once we use the word regulation, we tend to think that, these people who say hedonistic philosophy, they are having so much fun, so much pleasure. Wherever they get pleasure, they will enjoy. Now you guys are all very civilized and some pleasures you don't accept, only some other pleasures you accept. So end of the day, you are getting less pleasure than them. They would say, you are getting less pleasure than them. That is a fallacious argument, because pleasure is not about quantity. Pleasure is about quality. Progressive pleasure means higher quality pleasure, higher taste. Relationship pleasure is also higher and higher relationship pleasure. For instance, somebody can say, I want to have relationship with every man or woman. And civilized life says, no, you have relationship with your husband or with your wife. Obviously, it looks restricted. Is it not? But actually, it is not restricted. When you have integrity of relationship, loyalty, there is a higher, finer pleasure which is not experienceable by the other person who goes left and right like animal everywhere. So there is a concept especially in the modern minds, that restricting pleasure or regulating pleasure is equal to restricting pleasure. Real Vedic philosophy is regulating pleasure is not for restricting pleasure, is for expanding pleasure. It is a higher sense of higher taste. So because of this paradigm, modern mind cannot accept restricting pleasures. Say, why I should restrict? Because there is no appreciation of higher taste that you get by restricting. If you restrict this much, 1 unit, your higher taste is 10 units more. So which is better? It is the quality of pleasure. You restrict a lower quality of pleasure for getting higher quality of pleasure. We restrict sense gratificatory life for developing higher taste of developing ultimately love of God, the highest pleasure. So the evolution of consciousness in different species among the 84 lakh species, one should understand it is meant for creating finer and finer and finer human beings. That is why what facility is available, even now, even in the most fallen situation of human society you see, still there is decency. Sense of decency. There is a sense of being civilized. There is a sense of respecting each other, just like laws of, in the traffic you drive and you follow the traffic laws. You cannot create traffic rules for animals. Human beings, when they are driving, they will stop when there is red light. A dog will simply cross. So just see, the human body itself, even in its fallen state, has got so many unique features that the animal body does not have. But these unique features are given for a purpose, to rise up further, to invest that further, in order to reach a higher quality of life. Tamoguna to Rajoguna to sattvic rasas of life. A yogi takes pleasure in controlling its senses. Not that he controls his senses and then he is very depressed. Oh, I have to deprive my senses. No. He takes pleasure in rejecting sense gratification. So animals in bodies lower than that of the human beings are conscious only as far as the bodily distress and happiness are concerned. Eating, sleeping, mating and defending, the four necessities of life governs the animal life. Just like we see the modern world also, the whole world is there. People, human beings are creating a destination. I want to make it in life. And they put up so many, they accept things favorable, things unfavorable are rejected, and they go towards their destination. People want to do startups, and they're all utilizing the human intelligence. But the same human intelligence is supposed to keep the destination as back to Godhead, and accept things favorable and reject things unfavorable, and take one's life towards that higher consciousness. And such a life is considered to be a successful human life. A successful human life. So that way, those who surrender to Prabhupada to come to Krishna consciousness, they are having a successful life. Even materially speaking, they are having a successful life. Because they have a destination, they accept things favorable for Krishna consciousness, they reject things unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. They take decision like this, they have a lifestyle which favors Krishna consciousness, they reject lifestyles which are against Krishna consciousness. And this way they move towards their destination of Krishna consciousness, destination of becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. So we are also very aggressive. Just like modern people, they are youngsters and all, they're very aggressive. I want to make it, I want to become, I will start something, I'll become a billionaire, millionaire. Young people are all becoming billionaires by the age of 35 and all these things. Isn't it, nowadays? So the devotee feels that, yeah, I am a super billionaire. You don't even have idea of where I am going. I am only 25 and my real startup will take me to destination where you will just with all the wealth and everything that you create, you will be a miserable fellow. In this life as well as the time of death, you will be miserable. By Prabhupada's mercy, I got into a startup where I am as aggressive as you are. Just like you are very aggressive to reach a destination. Day and night you are thinking how to build my empire. I am also, day and night, I am aggressive. I am aggressive to reject sense gratification. I am aggressive to accept things favorable for devotional service. Just like to achieve your goal, you have a lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? Sit and work till 12 o'clock. Wake up at 9 o'clock. I have a lifestyle also. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm very aggressive about it. What I will eat, what I will not eat, all I am very, 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 very aggressive about it. I don't eat anything and everything. So this way, the devotees are the ones who are actually taking advantage of the highest potential in the human body. Highest potential in the human body. Others are all simply wasting their life. Wasting their life. So misguided. That is why Prabhupada very clearly says, rascals, all the misguided human civilization. Whatever it is, you have got a human body, whether in Kali Yuga or any Yuga, doesn't matter. It is highly valuable. I always give this one example of how if you have an airplane that flies and you do not know the potential that it can fly, but you are always using your airplane for ground transport. So all the human beings who get a human body are actually having an airplane. They can fly. All are running around in the ground. And if somebody flies and shows also, doesn't understand, because most of the airplanes are on the ground. So everybody thinks that is a norm. Hey, no, you cannot fly and all. You have to always fly and see, chant Hare Krishna and see. They don't want. So this is a kind of foolishness, mass brainwashing by Maya Devi. And Prabhupada comes out in the midst of them and counters this Maya's brainwashing. The result of that is all of us. That is when Prabhupada was told that you are by the Western brainwashers. They said, Prabhupada, your founder is brainwashing our youngsters. Prabhupada said, yes, I am washing their brain. of all the dirt. What is simple? Prabhupada told, somebody has brainwashed you, though you have an airplane, they have brainwashed you that you can only run on the ground. I want to come and wash that thing out of your head and say that you can fly. Between flying pleasure and running on the road, which is better? Which is better transportation? Flying. Quicker you can go. So Mayadevi has completely brainwashed that this is sense gratification. Enjoy your senses, enjoy your senses, enjoy your senses. And Prabhupada came and said, control your senses, control your senses, control your senses. That doesn't make sense. Sense means enjoyment, no. Why would anybody give up enjoyment? No, Prabhupada said, control your senses and enjoy your higher senses. Higher quality of enjoyment. The advantage with the higher quality of sense enjoyment, higher quality of enjoyment is that it will have, as you go higher and higher, it will have lesser and lesser mix of pain. This also doesn't matter, higher or lower, both are pleasure, no. So what is the big problem? Somebody will say. This sense gratification, I am having lower sense gratification, you are having higher sense gratification. The problem is not that. Lower sense gratification is always accompanied by pain. Higher percentage of pain. As you go higher and higher, finer pleasure, sense pleasure, higher pleasures, it has got less and less mix of pain. Finally, you have a painless pleasure. Everything in this world is like sweet rice mixed with sand. Along with sweet rice, you have to bite sand also. If somebody tells you that, look, okay, here is available sweet rice mixed with sand. Here, pure sweet rice is available. Then what would the person, if he says, no, it's okay, this is also sweet rice, that's also sweet rice. Why I should work little harder to get that, sandless sweet rice? Because he is foolish, he does not see the difference. So that is a difference. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. That these are all this sand that is mixed with this so-called false sweet rice made out of plastic rice, not even real rice. So you get real rice, real sweet rice. Here you get plastic, this thing with chemical milk. It is a fact. Today it's a fact. The milk that you get is chemical milk because the cows eat all the fertilizer, insecticides, everything. And then what is cow's job? It's a wonderful job. It takes all the essence from the food and it will deliver. So it will take all the essence of the pesticides that it eats and it will deliver in the milk. And then new diseases are formed in the society, which was not there before. So that, then all kinds of things. So anyway, the principle is this. Principle is to choose higher pleasure is to our benefit, is to our intelligence. It's our constitutional nature to experience Krishna conscious quality of pleasure. Pleasure means pleasure, happiness, rasa. Not talking only about sense pleasure, different kinds of rasa. So we are so blessed that by the mercy of a pure devotee, we are utilizing the human form of life for the best thing. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, you are mentioning that animal can be trained like anything uh, based on his pleasure sensations. So this is actually an application of the principle that soul can take any identity in a perverted way. Means in animal case we are saying because it's so much addicted to pleasure and pain feelings, so it can be trained or it can take any identity as per the training in the case.
Not identity. It can respond. You can make it respond the way you want. Not identity.
Okay.
It cannot take identities like that. It just simply responds. It is not very difficult to understand. Even we also have an animal portion in us. We are also, to understand animals is not very difficult if you understand the animal in us. We also respond to, for instance, you say, tomorrow there will be a feast. Hey, that is also animal response. Instinctual reaction, response by instinct. So, what is the question?
The question actually was that it was based on this principle that you have mentioned many times in your lecture, that soul can take any identity.
Soul can take identity, that freedom is there only in human form. Very speciality. Soul can perceive himself. Soul can become self-aware in the human form. In the animal form, the animal cannot become self-aware. The cat cannot think, I am a cat. It can only behave like a cat. It can only be like a cat. But it cannot observe that I am being a cat. Its self-awareness is not there. So we have got that self-awareness. For instance, if you do something wrong, then you are capable of being aware that, oh, I did something wrong. I shouldn't have done. These things are not there in the animal. It cannot see its past like that and say, in the past, like this, like that. No. It also knows about the past. Oh, in the past I went there and I got food, so I will go again there. But we can think about the past. They can move to past and future with the instincts of pain and pleasure. We can move to the past and future. The human beings can move their mind to the past and future based on intelligence for a purpose. In order to do, I have done something wrong in the past, I should not do that mistake again. So the human form, you have got that capacity to analyze. So see, all these things are possible.
So, Prabhu, the question was that the perfectional stage of this taking identity, is it when one achieves that love of God, then he can take any identity for the sake of service of God, just to satisfy Lord. So it's like that transcendental stage we are talking about. Or even, if, as you mentioned that in human form it is possible, even in perverted stage also, for his own satisfaction, sense gratification, he can take any identity.
You can take any identity. In the human form, you can misuse that facility. People misuse that facility. It's a facility given to us to be more flexible, to do anything and everything. So in the human form of life, either you can use it to serve Krishna, or you can use that take on different identities and they have different independent rasas. And you get karmic reaction for that, the fruitive activities. In fact, materially successful people are people who are very much capable of taking up identities like this. Role plays, you'll see good karma people. Human beings have good karma, they shift personalities like this. They can very fast, they can. Whereas those who are in tamoguna, they'll say, I am that only, I am that. One identity is stuck. Any other
Prabhu,
question?
Prabhu, that body and mind system is constructed in such a way that immediately it runs for the instinct happiness.
Ah.
Especially.
Body mind is constructed like that, but intelligence is not constructed like that.
Yes, Prabhu. And in spite of chanting and following the principles, so still sometimes we see that the senses are going for instinct happiness.
Hmm.
So how do we deconstruct this?
Senses will go, but you should not go.
Especially the attraction between man and woman.
Senses may be attracted, but you should not get attracted.
So what should we do, Prabhu?
Huh?
What should we do, Prabhu?
You separate yourself from the senses. I am different, my senses are different. My senses may go, my mind may go, but I won't go. That facility is there. First is to understand that differentiation. Then is to take strength from Hare Krishna, holy name of the Lord. Take pray to spiritual master, because Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya, a very deep attraction. See, attraction to sense objects can be removed, can never be removed unless you disidentify with the body. If you think I am the body, then body is designed to get attracted to. So if you want the body to go out of the default mode of being attracted to sense objects, you have to disidentify yourself with this body. That is another great facility given in the human form of life, to identify and disidentify. That freedom also you should realize. I can identify and disidentify. Just like you mentioned, you can take so many identities. How do you take identities? By identifying. How you disidentify? How you give up identities? By disidentifying. So, chanting Hare Krishna, associating with the Supreme Spirit, awakens our spirit, and we are able to disidentify with gross matter. When you disidentify not only with body, why one's own body, you disidentify with spirit, with matter. It's all going on in the matter field. I live in the spirit field. I am spirit, others are spirit, everybody is spirit. Like that kind of a perception will develop by the mercy of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. In the current day in this social media, be it in the social media, be it WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever, a curiosity is aroused by one kind of any notification or whatever, and they get entangled into that, and then a kind of a dopamine effect, wherein they forget what they are actually supposed to do. So intelligence is creating a curiosity, and then leading to a kind of a dopamine effect, leading to a kind of a ignorance.
Leading to?
A kind of an ignorance.
Ignorance.
Yeah. So how to understand this?
Curiosity.
I mean, say for instance, something comes, some message comes or something like that.
Okay.
We get curious and get into it and forget what we are supposed to do, and end up spending some time.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it happens.
That you have to understand that we all have instinct for Satrasa, Chitrasa and Anandarasa. So this WhatsApp is Maya takes advantage of your Chitrasa. Maybe useless, totally useless, but still unless you press that and see what that video is there, you will not sleep. Try telling yourself, this video I do not know what it is, but I will not see. But your mind will say, at least let me see what it is and then decide what to see or not to see. This WhatsApp is a very subtle way in which you are pulled. And for devotee it is worse because there's some good things also that happens there. So you think of, I was thinking, this WhatsApp, I should just block it. But then so many good things are happening, instant communication and all these things. What to do? I'm still trying to find a solution for it. Still not found. Because I don't want to waste time. It's a waste of time. See, every time half a second you do for something, multiplied 50 times, how much time is gone? 1 minute and 50 minutes is gone. 50 minutes is so precious for us. After 24 hours to 50 minutes, we can do so many things. So like drop, your Maya takes away drop by drop. Because you'll not figure out. But you multiply and see, 100 messages, half a minute you are given. And then because of the chit rasa, because of rasa, you get addicted to it. Any rasa, you get addicted to it. That means invariably you will see, at least every 20 minutes you will see what's in the WhatsApp. Your phone has become part and parcel of your life. So you get angry, how the phone has conquered me like this? I want some peace, keep it there. I found one solution today morning. I have another number, and where there are useful people whom you want to regularly communicate, only give them that number. Other one you keep it, once in a week you open and see all the WhatsApp. Anything useful has come. Otherwise you just don't. Don't allow to become, become a habit. Capturing our time. Maya captures our time. So, solution to this is, engage yourself in chitrasa. Every half an hour you read something of Prabhupada. What does he say? On that, no interest. Let me carry on one Prabhupada's book. Every half an hour, let me read one paragraph. That is not interest. There is no interest in that. Every half an hour, you want to see what's WhatsApp message. We don't want to see what is in Prabhupada's purpose. We have devised different ways by which our chitrasa is dovetailed. It is very exciting. That's the most exciting thing. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.